Hi, I'm Matt with URBAN-ERT Slings, going to discuss the SENTRY hybrid sling. When you get your sling kit, it's going to arrive configured and assembled already, depending on which kit you get. It's going to have the sling configured as a 2-point with the adapters placed in the packaging as well. In this case, it's going to have PS90 front and rear harness. We'll set that aside for now because we're not going to use it. And depending on whether or not you ordered the weapons catch with the sling kit, this is what you'll get. This is a female buckle with webbing that you can rapidly disassemble, like the chin strap of a motorcycle helmet, and install this on the pals webbing of body armor or on your belt or whichever accessory you want to attach it to, backpack. Reassemble it by putting the webbing through the 2 loops, fold it over. Make sure that locking tab's on top. If you want it a little shorter, before you assemble it, route it through whatever you're going to put it on, pals webbing, belt, or whatever. Insert it only through one of the plastic loops, fold it back over, reinstall it through whatever you were putting it on, and then on the back side you will have the plastic loop straddling, and that makes it shorter. Now, in the package, you're going to have the sling configured as a 2-point. The catalog that comes with it is not specific to any weapon or any adapters. It's only specific to the sling kits that you could possibly order, whether it's the enhanced rush sling kit on page 1 and 2, which can be rapidly transformed from 2-point to 1-point, or it can be configured into a dedicated 1-point or dedicated 2-point. Page 4 or 5, which is the kit we have here, the SENTRY hybrid sling kit. On page 4, it's going to have the diagrams showing it not only as a configured dedicated 1-point, but as a configured dedicated 2-point. It's going to have written instructions on how to reassemble or disassemble it and the theory of the sling. And then we have some other sling kits or options and accessories. On the back, you're going to have the adapter chart. It's going to have the most common adapters that we sell that are specific to the weapon. Again, the sling is not specific to the weapon. What's specific to the weapon is going to be the adapters. Okay? So you can order the sling kit with 2 adapters that it comes with. You can go back to our website and you can order any number of these adapters to apply the same sling from weapon to weapon to weapon without having to get multiple sling kits. We'd encourage you to get multiple sling kits, one for each weapon, but you don't really need to. The sling comes configured as a dedicated 2-point. What you're going to have in the kit is the cinch strap, the sling main body, female buckle, and the ambidextrous ring assembly. This is what's used only when you want to configure the sling into a dedicated 1-point. For now, the sling is configured into a dedicated 2-point with the female buckle installed on the non-elastic side and the cinch strap installed on the elastic side where the expander is. The sling body is going to have a 9-inch section of pals webbing. It's pouch attaching ladder system. It's to attach a small pouch of a bandage, quick clot, or maybe a small weapon accessory cleaning kit. It's going to have the 2-inch tri-glide, which allows you to adjust the overall circumference of the sling body. And then once you get that adjusted to the length that you want, the cinch strap is going to do the finite adjustment over your torso. It's going to have a pull cord, which is a breakaway, which allows you to get completely out of the sling system if you get caught up and you can't reach the front female male buckle or the rear male female buckle connection. And the non-elastic side is going to plug into the back of the weapon. The elastic side with the cinch strap is always going to plug into the front of the weapon when it's configured as a 2-point. When you have the sling installed correctly on the weapon, the elastic expander is always going to be down by your offhand side. So for right hand use, it's going to be on your left abdomen. For left hand use, it's going to be on your right abdomen, and the sling is going to run up over your shoulder and under your left arm and connected to the front and to the back of the actual weapon. To configure the sling into a dedicated 1-point, all you're going to do is transfer the cinch strap from the elastic side to the non-elastic side. So first thing you want to do is feed the webbing into the 2 plastic loops, which allows you some excess space here to get this locking tab underneath the plastic loop. And then disassemble like the chin strap of a motorcycle helmet, removing the individual female buckle and set it aside. On the elastic side of the sling, it's the same thing. Feed the webbing through the 2 plastic loops so that you have excess webbing sticking out, so that you can get the locking tab up underneath the plastic loops. And then again, disassembling like the chin strap of a motorcycle helmet. Now, to remember how best to install this chin strap onto the sling, whether it's in 2-point or 1-point, 2-point mode, it goes on the elastic side. 1-point mode, it goes on the non-elastic side, because that's going to be on your shoulder. To ensure that you're installing it correctly, on the bottom of the Snapdragon here it says ITW Nexus, and on the bottom of the sling it's going to have our label. What you're going to do is label down, going to feed the webbing up through the only loop available, and then reassemble the speed tab by putting it through the 2 plastic loops, folding it back over like you would the chin strap of a motorcycle helmet, pulling that tab over the top of the loop, dressing the webbing so that that stays on top. That prevents it from coming undone. Now to install the ambidextrous ring assembly, part number 25 on page 4 of the catalog, what you're going to do is you're going to have the label down, sling body and elastic facing away from you, and just feed the webbing through the ring, no matter, left, right, doesn't matter. Make a V out of it, fold the webbing over towards you, and to ensure that you have it for the correct dexterity, point the male buckle to your right as it's facing away from you for right hand use. Flip it around, point the male buckle to the left for left hand use when it's facing away from you. I'm right handed, so I'm going to assemble it in a right hand configuration. Making sure that the little tab is on top of the plastic loop to prevent it from coming undone. Flatten the sling out, bring it to itself, and plug it in. Now the sling is configured into a dedicated 1-point. To don the sling, just with your dominant hand, for whichever dexterity you are, pick up this Snapdragon with the 550 cord and hold it like this. And you're going to take your hand, place it under your elbow, and place it on your shoulder. You want to do this because if you just throw it over and the webbing gets twisted, it's not going to be conducive to cinching this down. You want to make it into a triangle and place it over on your shoulder, especially if you have a hoodie on or body armor or a helmet. It's going to make it nice and flat around your torso. Bring this female buckle up to the center of your chest and cinch it down toward your left foot. Now the sling is configured into a dedicated 1-point on your torso, where you would plug the weapon directly into it. To uncinch it, just come up and grab this little strap lock here, turn it perpendicular, the webbing slides right out. To reconfigure the sling back into a dedicated 1-point, or check that a dedicated 2-point, unplug the cinch strap from the Ambi ring assembly and remove the Ambi ring assembly by routing the webbing through, making it tighter, thus making that little strap longer, feeding the little tab underneath the plastic loops and out of the ring. Set the Ambi ring assembly aside because you won't need it. Take the cinch strap, disassemble the speed tab in such a fashion that the excess is sticking out long enough to get that little tab underneath the plastic loops. And now you want to put this back on the elastic side again, label facing down, feed the webbing up through the only loop available on the back of the strap lock, reassemble it like so, ensuring again that this little webbing tab is sticking on top of the plastic loop, and what that does is it ensures that the sling never comes loose when you don't want it to. On the non-elastic shoulder side of the sling, take the female buckle, route it through so that when you assemble it, it's pointing away from the sling, and making sure again that the tab is facing on top. So now the sling is reconfigured into a dedicated 2-point. So applying this Urban SENTRY sling to a specific weapon, as the kit came, it came with a front and rear harness for the PS90. And here we have a PS90. Ensure that it's on safe and clear to visually physically inspect it. We do have, for the PS90, safety flags. This also works on any other AR-15 style weapon. Anything with a breech and a mag well, it will go through and fit perfectly. Just for the PS90, charge it to the rear, feed it halfway through, let it go forward slowly, and now you've ensured that your PS90 is on safe and there's no possible way to shoot the weapon. Now, the sling here is configured as a 2-point. We'll set it aside. This is the PS90 front harness, part number 0-10, and this is the PS90 rear harness. It's part number 0-09 if you need to search for it on our website. If you look at the side profile of this PS90 harness, one side is shorter than the other. If for some reason you get one that these sides are equal, then you probably have an FS2000 rear harness and you need to contact us. Okay, so once your firearm is made safe, disconnect the male buckles and the female buckles, set the horizontal strap of the rear harness aside, unvelcro the outside main strap, and on the inside, in between the two female buckles, there is a smaller Velcro strap, 1 inch by 2 inch. Now, the way this installs on the weapon is you have the rear factory slot, okay? What you want to do is point the weapon away from you so it's oriented correctly, and you want to feed with the Velcro scratchy hook section of the Velcro facing down into the back slot. Pull it through, flip the weapon over, and reapply the Velcro so that it's mated perfectly back to itself. And then you can dress the webbing kind of over the top of it and just get it in the general area. You don't have to make it perfect for now. Just get it in the general area. And then bring the main strap over the top, feed it through the plastic loop, and pull it tight. Now, once you've got that assembled, you can dress the webbing so that it's nice and squared away so that the female buckles are equally up the side. Once you get that done, pull it tight, and the vertical portion of the rear harness is installed. Now, the horizontal strap of the PS90 rear harness is going to have 2 male buckles and 1 male buckle with a Velcro strap. If you're right-handed, on the left side of the weapon, you want to plug the 2 male buckles, the longest one, in to the female buckle so that the extra male buckle is sticking out. If you are left-handed, you're going to do that on the right side of the weapon so that the extra male buckle is sticking out. But since I'm right-handed, I'm going to plug it on the left side of the weapon. Take the other male buckle, feed it through the thumb hole, route it over to the other side, and simply plug it in. Now, that's a little loose, too loose for my comfort, so what you'll do is feed it back through, take the Velcro and tear it apart, and this is just like a strap lock on a backpack. You want to pull it a little tighter. You can feed the webbing through the strap lock and then reapply the Velcro. Feed it through the thumb hole stock on the opposite side, line it up, and that's too tight. So you just got to play with it until you get it to where it's the perfect length, and you'll learn pretty quickly where that needs to be. Now it's tight. Now, you should have the male buckle on the left-hand side of the weapon on the stock for right-hand use. For the front harness adapter, since FN provides no front sling attachment for the weapon, if you're lucky and you have a Picatinny rail on the left or right-hand side on the front optics post, and it doesn't matter if it's the tri-rail or the ring sight, it doesn't matter which PS90 you have, this is always going to fit. This front PS90 harness adapter is always going to fit because it wraps around the front optics post where the magazine butt plate rests up against, and there's a space between there, but this fits perfectly, does not interfere with the magazine well at all. But to install this, you simply undo the webbing. It's typically assembled when you get it, and you're going to see that it's got the 1-inch tri-glide and the angle cut piece of webbing with a male buckle. So you're going to hold the male buckle like this. You're going to take this 2-inch or this 1-inch tri-glide and put it in the front of the weapon on the left-hand side of the weapon. So if it's for left-hand use, you're going to do the same thing. Hold the male buckle, place that tri-glide into the front of the weapon, and that's going to be for left-hand use. So point the male buckle up, run the webbing through the optics post, run it through the first slot of the tri-glide, and what you're going to do is kind of pull it halfway tight and pin it down, and then just feed only a little bit of the section of the angle cut webbing through, because you still need to get a good grip on this. You're going to pull it nice and tight, and once you get it tight, now you can pull it the rest of the way through. Bring this over. You can kind of put your fingers up underneath it, and that way you can get the little angle cut piece of webbing through it, and double it over so that it actually looks like it's secured nice and well, where it's through the tri-glide, folded back over through the tri-glide, which keeps it from coming undone. Now you have the male buckle on the left-hand side. With this excess webbing, you can either just get a piece of electrical tape and wrap it around, run it through a little slot and tape it down, or you can just leave it like that. I've never had an issue with it getting in the way of anything. Now, in lieu of using this, if you do have a Picatinny rail on your left side of your weapon, you can get what's called an RSA. If you go to our website, on the top right hand side, at search field, just type R as in Robert, S as in Sam, A as in Adam, RSA. It comes with a big loop on it. You can get a flathead or an Allen wrench to disassemble the screw and the clamping portion. Install it onto the side rail. Make sure you don't tighten this down too tight. I think it's the packaging says 15 inch-pounds. And once you've got that installed, you can actually go to our website and type in MASH, M-A-S-H, in the search field, and it'll come up with this match clip adapter. It's 0-02. And you can either use this or you can use this. Once you have the RSA installed onto the Picatinny rail, you simply push the opposing sides of the match clip together, and that separates the two prongs. Elastic silencer just to help with some of the sound. And all you're going to do is clip it right to the RSA. So you can either get the URBAN-SENTRY hybrid sling kit for the PS90 as it comes with the front and rear harness, or you can go to our website and click to build your URBAN-SENTRY hybrid sling. Just type in the word click in the search field and you'll see click to build your URBAN hybrid SENTRY sling. The rear harness selection will be PS90 Rear Harness 0-09, and you would click Match Clip 0-02 for your front adapter, and it's going to come with the sling kit. And therefore you can plug the rear harness into the rear of the sling, and you can either, with a standard kit, plug the front cinch strap into the front PS90 harness, or if you got the match clip hooked to an RSA, you can click it to that. What that does is just keeps it out of the way of your charging handle. If you want the enhanced rush sling, which allows you to rapidly transform the sling from 2-point to 1-point without having to take the sling off of the PS90 to reconfigure it, you're going to need to get one of these RSAs that attaches to the Picatinny rail. And when you go to our website, you can just go to 1-point slings or 2-point slings and just look for the enhanced rush sling or the E-rush sling. And then on that page, you'll select your color that you'd like. And for the rear modular adapter selection, you're going to search for the PS90 Rear Harness Adapter 09. And then it's going to automatically, by default, come with this match clip. So what you're going to get is this sling, and instead of this female buckle here, it's going to come with what's called a speed ring. The speed ring is what allows you to rapidly transform the sling from 2-point to 1-point without having to take the sling apart to reconfigure it. Here's the speed ring. It's going to come assembled, ready to go right out of the package as the eRush sling kit. But the problem with the eRush sling kit as it pertains to the PS90 is it's not going to fit automatically. You're going to have a rail, and you're going to have a Magpul RSA or some type of a sling attachment on the rail with a metal loop to hook the mash clip to, so that when you plug the rear of the sling into the rear harness, you plug the front of the sling into the mash clip. When you put it over the torso and you cinch it down tight, it's going to keep the weapon up tight against your body. If you want to go from 2-point to 1-point without having to take the sling apart and reconfigure it, you simply unclip the mash clip from the front RSA, clip it into the speed ring, and now the PS90 sling kit for the eRush sling kit for the PS90 can be a dedicated 1-point, a dedicated 2-point, as well as be rapidly transformed from 2-point to 1-point without having to take the sling apart. If you have any questions as it pertains to the URBAN-ERT Hybrid Sling Kit or the enhanced Rapid URBAN-ERT Hybrid Sling Kit, please feel free to give us a call at 317-223-6509, or you can email us at info@urbanertslings.com. Thank you. God damn, I can fucking... Either the URBAN-ERT Sling...